led to the international recognition of the sovereignty of the newly formed Republic of Turkey as the successor state of the Ottoman Empire.
Oh, I love you more than words can say.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back here again today on this beautiful day, guys. On this beautiful day, it's your boy Shady Shae, the one and the only. Merhaba, hoş geldiniz. I've been having requests now to check out things from Turkey because, like, a few days ago, I checked out Indian versus Turkish actresses and actors, and a lot of people were saying, yo, Shady, check out more. We want to see more Turkey. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to check out the history of Turkey. Let's know more about Turkey and educate ourselves. Okay, guys. Anyway, that's not too much. I'm going to go straight to action. But before we start this video, guys, make sure you smash like, subscribe, give me some love, and let's get this started. Okay, first of all, I smash like, I subscribe, and let's go. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, I bet they must talk about the Ottoman
history
Empire.
of Turkey. From this title, we can understand as the period between the formation of the Republic in the 29th of October 1923 and the present days,
Independence
the period
Day, yeah?
of Ottoman and Turkic beyliks. But we are going to refer to the entire period of known history of this land.
Okay, let's go. I was gonna say 10 minutes of history is too short. Like, you can't talk about the history of a country in 10 minutes. You're just gonna rush through the video or chop off stuff. But then he said they're gonna talk about the known history. So let's go.
Practically, the history of the region now forming the territory of not only the Republic of Turkey, but also Anatolia. The earliest representations of culture in Anatolia were some Stone Age artifacts.
Like
Due
Stonehenge.
to its strategic location at the intersection of Asia and Europe, Anatolia has been an important place of several civilizations since.
That is a very, very strategic location. Like, just located between Asia and Europe. So they're going to have really rich culture because they'll be influenced by both sides. Plus, they have their one as well.
Due to its strategic location at the intersection of Asia and Europe, Anatolia has been an important place of several civilizations since prehistoric times. At the start of the Bronze Age, metallurgy spread to Anatolia from Transcaucasian cultures in the late 4th millennium BCE.
Okay, so
and
they
it
got it
slowly
early.
entered in the sphere of influence of the Akkadian Empire. Many civilizations existed here. Speaking about one, the Hittite Civilization was a member of an ancient Indo-European people who appeared in Anatolia at the beginning of the 2nd millennium.
I know the Hittites. The Jebusites. I've heard of those ones. Yeah, okay.
BCE. By 1340 BCE, they had become one of the dominant powers in the Middle East. The remnants of Bronze Age civilizations such as the Haitian, Akkadian, Assyrian, and Hittite peoples provide us with many examples of the daily lives of its citizens and their trade. After the fall of the Hittites, the new state of Phrygia and Lydia stood strong on the western coast as Greek civilization began to flourish. They and all the rest of Anatolia were relatively soon incorporated into the Persian Empire. More from the east, a new power emerged. Persia grew in power more and more and influenced the lands of the west, expanding in Anatolia. Their system of local government in Anatolia allowed many cities and ports to grow and to become wealthy because of the influx of trade and road networks between the east and west. The region of Anatolia got divided into various regions, satrapies, ruled by satraps, governors, appointed by the central Persian rulers. In the earliest 5th century BC, some of the Ionian cities under Persian rule revolted, which culminated into the Ionian Revolt.
Wow, the Persian Empire was really strong. Yeah, they took over the whole region there. Okay, that's mad.
This revolt, after being easily suppressed by the Persians, led to the popular Greco-Persian Wars, one of the most known and crucial wars from the ancient history. This Greco-Persian War led to more conflicts in the Greek peninsula. Fights for power and influence happened, and a revenge sentiment mixed with good leaderships led to the growth of Macedonian kingdom under Philip II and his son, Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great, yo! Growing up as a kid, we keep hearing about Alexander the Great, and then till I got to know about his story. But yo, he was really great, like, no lie.
Philip II and his son, Alexander the Great, who gained control of the whole region and conquered Persia in successive battles. From this point, Anatolia was more and more influenced by the Hellenic world. After Alexander's death, his conquests were split amongst several of his trusted generals. The Seleucid Empire, the largest of Alexander's territories, and which included Anatolia, became involved in wars with Rome more years later. The rise of Rome was felt across the Mediterranean basin. The control of Anatolia was strengthened by Rome, allowing local control to govern effectively and provide military protection, expanding deep into Anatolian territory.
Oh,
The
Rome
territory
took
here
over.
developed in Roman
They took
times.
over.
Due to the rise of instability in the empire and the permanent raids from foreign invaders in the 4th century AD, the Emperor Constantine the Great established a new administrative center at the city of Byzantium, called Constantinople after his name.
Constantinople,
And by the end of
yeah.
the 4th century, the Roman Empire split into two parts. The western part with Rome as its capital, and the eastern part with Constantinople as its capital, an empire referred to by historians as the Byzantine Empire.
See, there's so much mix, you see. I know I was saying that Turkish people look like Italians, and then some Turkish people are saying, no, we don't look like Italians, we look like Turkish people. I'm like, that's a no-brainer. You know, people learn by associations. Yeah, when you associate something to something you know to something like you're not too aware of. But yeah, I see how mixed you are. That's a sort of a mix that went on back in the day. It's just interesting how different empires kept coming to conquer the lands and take over. And you know, they're going to mix, make babies, mix up the genes as well. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The process of Hellenization that began with Alexander's conquest accelerated under Roman rule, and the ancient Greek language and culture was predominant in the region. Turkic peoples and related groups migrated west from Turkestan and what is now Mongolia towards
Turkestan.
Eastern Europe, Iranian Plateau, and Anatolia. The Seljuk Turkmens created a medieval empire that controlled a vast area, stretching from the Hindu Kush to eastern Anatolia, and from Central Asia to the Persian Gulf. Many wars, the emerging of new empires, migrations, raids, and the incompetence of some leaders created the slow process of the Byzantine decline throughout time. Their decline and the growing power of the Seljuks led to conflicts and to the famous Battle of Manzikert on 26th of
Manzikert.
August, 1071, which is
Wow.
believed to be the open gate
Manzikert,
for
yeah.
the Turkic people, which will come in Anatolia in the next decades and centuries. This
Okay.
important battle was fought between the Byzantine Empire and the Seljuk Empire near Manzikert. The defeat of the Byzantine Empire and the capture of their emperor Romanos Diogenes IV is an important chapter in the history of Anatolia and in the history of what will be known as the Ottoman Empire and the Republic of Turkey.
Okay, so that's how it started.
The Sultanate of Rome
Okay.
seceded from the Great Seljuk Empire, and they ruled central Anatolia. As the Seljuk Sultanate of Rome started to crumble, many other smaller regions emerged, ruled by different leaders. These small kingdoms were called beyliks. One of them was ruled by Osman, which will be known as Osman I, the founder of the Ottoman Empire. It's believed that Osman's
Interesting.
early followers consisted both of Turkish tribal groups and Byzantine renegades, but not all were Muslims. It is not known for sure how this beylik started to dominate the region, but one thing was sure: the Byzantine Empire was very vulnerable. The new empire expanded into Europe, defeating local leaders and taking profit
Interesting.
from the instability of the region. By the year 1400, the Ottomans were a true power, having control
Okay.
of much of the Balkans and western
They
Anatolia.
took over the whole
The
land.
collapse of Constantinople in the year of 1453 and the end of the last vestiges of the Roman Empire consolidated their power and their notoriety for the next centuries.
Ooh, they took it. They took Constantinople. Yeah, they took it. And yeah. That's why the Ottoman Empire, once you talk about history, you don't mention Ottoman Empire, you've not started talking.
In which the empire will expand even further, reaching its peak in
Whoa.
the 16th and 17th centuries.
Wow.
Inflations, lost
wow.
battles, the defeats against the Russians and the Habsburgs, and some crisis and rebellions marked the decline of the Ottomans. The start of the 19th century was marked by national movements. Many people from different ethnicities lived in different empires or administrative forms, and rebellions started to happen.
Okay.
The Serbian Revolution, 1804 to 1815,
Oh, Serbia.
marked the beginning of an era of national awakening. Also, even some Arabs, led by the Al-Saud family, revolted against the Ottomans. In 1821,
Wow.
the Greeks declared war on the Sultan, achieving independence.
Wow.
In 1830, the French invaded Algeria, which was lost to the empire. In 1831, Muhammad Ali revolted and created a
Muhammad
civil
Ali.
war with the aim of making himself sultan. As we can see, the Ottoman experienced huge instability, marked by defeats, bad administration, revolts, and national
bad
movements across
administration.
the empire, due to its overextensions on lands with different peoples and cultures. The empire
Yeah.
continued in the next years of the 19th century to lose wars and territories, and to fail in the creating of new reforms. The collapse of the empire is a more detailed subject, but if you want to know more about that, we already made a more detailed video about their collapse. At the start of the First World War, the Ottoman Empire was at its final days. Joining the Central Powers in the conflict after their
First
defeat,
World War, yeah?
the empire crumbled and many of their territories were conceded in favor of Greece, Italy.
Wait, they were so powerful, they took over the whole land. But you see what greed does? Like, everybody just wants to rule the world, you know? And because of that selfish desire in humans, like, it's going to be hard to have a very large empire. If you ask me, it's going to be hard because people will keep revolting. Everybody will be selfish. They want it for themselves. And when it's happening, boom. But something that is great and big crumbles. Such is life.
Is a more detailed subject. But if you want to know more about that, we already made a more detailed video about their collapse. At the start of the First World War, the Ottoman Empire was at its final days. Joining the Central Powers in the conflict after their defeat, the empire crumbled and many of their territories were conceded in favor of Greece, Italy, Britain, and France. This loss created the start of the Turkish national movement, which will be known as the Turkish War of Independence, led by Mustafa Kemal.
Mustafa
By
Kemal,
September
yeah?
18th, 1922, the occupying armies were expelled. On November 1st, the newly founded parliament formally abolished the Sultanate, thus ending 623 years of Ottoman rule. The Treaty of Lausanne
Ended it.
of July 24th, 1923, led to the international recognition of the sovereignty of the newly formed Republic of Turkey as the successor state of the Ottoman Empire, and the Republic was officially proclaimed on October 29th, 1923, in the new capital of Ankara. Mustafa Kemal became the Republic's first president of Turkey, and subsequently introduced many radical reforms. More rights for women were established, a new writing system in the Latin alphabet for the Turkish language was created, and many others.
Okay.
Turkey was neutral in World War II, and they refused German requests to allow troops access to its borders into Syria or the USSR. Due to the growing tensions of the Cold War, the US guaranteed the security of Turkey and Greece. Turkey joined NATO in 1952, an important member, especially due to its geographic position at the border with USSR. On the island of Cyprus, instability and conflict started to exist, and a military coup of July 1974, overthrowing President Makarios and installing Nico Samson as a dictator. Turkey invaded the Cyprus in 1974. Later, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus was established, but just Turkey recognizes it. The single-party period was followed by multi-party democracy after 1945. The Turkish democracy was interrupted by internal problems and by military coups in 1960, 1971, and 1980.
Yo, that's
Since
crazy,
the liberalization of the Turkish economy during the 1980s, the country has enjoyed stronger economic growth and greater political stability.
Yeah.
Also, a boom in population happened in this country, growing from 17 million people in the 1930s to over 80 million
80
today.
million, yeah.
We know that there's more to
82
discuss
million.
about this topic, and we will cover more details in future episodes about the history of the Turkish people in Anatolia. So be sure to subscribe to our channel to receive more interesting animated episodes about our history.
This video, the history of Turkey in 10 minutes, just touched on very important points. Like you said, the known history of Turkey. Okay, so it wasn't really in depth. They just brushed it to give people a general knowledge of the formation of Turkey. But from what we've seen so far, crazy. The location as well, so strategic. Gives them an economic advantage in the sense that they are between Europe and Asia as well, which makes it very fantastic. And their cultures will definitely be affected by both sides. Okay, it'll be influenced to a certain degree. And from history, the way we've seen how the land was taken over by different empires, hence they have this mix. Okay, I mean almost everybody's mixed, but from what we've seen so far, the Romans coming through, the Ottomans taking over, the Hellenists. Of course, they're going to be very beautiful people. Anyway, guys, it was very interesting. At least now we have an insight into Turkey. So whenever I do anything Turkey, I mean, I understand your history and where you're coming from. Because history is for us to learn where we're coming from so we can know where we're going to and so we don't repeat the same mistakes again. If you're about Shady one and only, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Also, make sure you smash like, subscribe, give me some love. It's going to be a peace out, guys. And thanks for this request, guys. I loved it.
love you more than words can say. You are me. Oh, you are the light that shine in my way. You are me. Oh, I love you more than words can say. You are me. Oh, you are the light that shine in my way.